Hey everybody, I figured today it was about time we talked about Ruby Lane again and selling our vintage and collectibles on that marketplace called Ruby Lane. So I had earlier made a couple videos on Ruby Lane itself, what it was all about, what you can sell on there, what you can list on there, why I prefer Ruby Lane as a vintage marketplace right now over Etsy. And then I also did a second video on opening up a shop on Ruby Lane and then also making a listing on there. So if you're completely new to Ruby Lane, you might want to check those videos out first. Today's video is also probably still more for newer sellers on Ruby Lane. I just wanted to go over some of the features and options that are available on that site that help us get our items sold, because that's what we want to do, right? So there are some things that I am still exploring. There are some things that I've tried and tested and have seemed to work pretty well. And then there's a few things as I was researching this video that I was excited to try out for myself that I had maybe heard about, but it hadn't quite processed. And I will probably try working on those things this week. So I have a list today of some different things we can do, or features or options that Ruby Lane makes available to us that can help us get our items out in view of more people and hopefully make some sales. So what I'm definitely going to do right now is we're going to switch over to looking at my computer screen, because I wanted to not just show you or tell you about those features, I wanted to show you where you can access them, but then also we can look at where you can access the information about those sales and how they're going to run sales, those features, and how they work and things like that. So we'll find the FAQs and the tutorials and things like that as well. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started, and let's talk about the first way to get more sales on Ruby Lane. So here we are on our homepage of Ruby Lane, and we were going to talk about the ways that we can get sales and try to promote our items. So the very first thing I'm going to say is not breaking news. It's not anything that we don't know, but really I think the one thing that works the most for me is just consistently listing new items. And that's true of any platform that you're on. It's true on eBay, it's true on Etsy. You add things consistently, it keeps your shops alive and kicking and things like that. But a little added bonus, and I think I mentioned this in some of my earlier videos, is that a little added bonus with Ruby Lane is that as you list new items, they show up in a little special section on the website, on the marketplace here. And that's in the section that's called Today's Arrivals. Okay, so you see I clicked over here on the shop button, Today's Arrivals, and also this week's arrivals. So if you are listing consistently and adding more items, then every day or every other day or whatever your schedule allows, your items are going to show up here on Today's Arrivals. So I clicked on that. As I said before, it defaults to best match. So let's go ahead and go to most recent. I usually just try to change the order so I can see the newest things being listed. But as I mentioned in some of the other videos, there are buyers who just focus on these pages, and they take a look daily or first thing in the morning or whatever, and they look to see what on the marketplace is new. So the more often you're doing that, the chances of you catching the eye of somebody browsing these pages goes up considerably, obviously, right? And so that's just an added bonus of having your items being listed. Obviously, the more you list, the more you sell, but listing consistently and doing it regularly. And I will say this probably is the thing that works for me the best. a lot of times it's not even the item that I've listed that ends up selling, but some other item ends up selling after I've listed a bunch of new items on a regular and consistent basis. So that's actually a, probably I put that first because even though that's not breaking news, it's probably the thing that works the best for Ruby Lane. But let's go on to a second thing that we can do. And that is something that's called the monthly finds newsletter. So what we're going to do is we are going to go over, let me just show you where it is, how you access it. So we're going to go to Shop Owner's Home, and then we're going to go down a little bit. And if you look here, it says select item for monthly finds. Okay, so what the monthly finds is it's a feature on Ruby Lane that that helps promote some of the items that are listed for sale. So you're allowed to pick one item and you submit it to monthly finds, and the timing of this is kind of important. So it, like I said, it's called monthly finds. So every month there's a new collection of these items that are promoted. So every month you want to choose another item for the next month. So the last 2 days of the month, the registration, whatever you want to call it, opens up for the following month. So it starts at midnight or like 12:01 Eastern Standard Time on that second to last day of the month. So you have those 2 days, you can add items into it. And then on the first of the month, those items start to get promoted. So first of all, they will be promoted on the monthly finds page. So first of all, let's go where it says here, select item for monthly finds. I'll just show you how it's set up. And it says you can do one item per shop. You can change and replace your item at any time. So if the item that you're promoting sells, then you can just go in, take it out, and put in another item. Okay. So like it says, you may list on the last 2 days of every month for the following month. So here's the item that I have selected at the moment. But then down here, you can just put in the item ID of another item, or you can just pick from your list, right? And you submit it. So now the reason why, so they have the 2 days, the last 2 days of the month. And the reason you want to make sure that you do it during that time is that one of the ways that Ruby Lane promotes these monthly finds items is that there's a page on the website called monthly finds. And again, just like the, what was it called? Today's arrivals, there are people who shop just in the monthly finds. So if you go right here, it's kind of hard to see that it's clickable, but you can look at February finds. Okay, and these are special items showcased by Ruby Lane shop owners. It says many at reduced prices. So that might be an option. You might end up wanting to put something on sale and then add it to the monthly finds so that people can see it. Now, the interesting thing about this page with all these special things that people are looking at is that these are posted on the monthly finds in the order that people sign up to put one there. So very hardcore sellers who are really interested in using this promotion, they will set an alarm for midnight of the 2 days, for those 2 days before the beginning of the month. And they try to be very close to the top of the list for submitting an item. So the people who come shopping here, they're going to scroll down and they're going to look at what's available. And it's all usually very special things. And they may only scroll so far. So let's see if we go down. I don't know if I have my page set for how long it is. I guess not. You can't change that on here. But see, there's like 3 pages of it. So some people might not go past the first page. You never know. So you know, the best option is to try to get your item on there early as possible. So the other places that these items are promoted are in emails. So there are emails that are sent out, and they're not just sent out once a month, they're sent out every week. And those emails are random. The order of the things in it are totally random. So a person who receives those emails, they'll see, monthly finds for February, and they'll see not in this order, they'll see them just in some kind of random order. And so your item maybe you're not getting up at midnight or whatever to submit your find, and so you're further down on the list. Well, you have a random, equally good chance that your item will show up in one of those emails that comes to the subscribers. Okay, so we also mentioned that you can change it out at any time. And changing it out, just you don't bump your item higher up. You end up keeping the same spot. It just changes out the item. So if that makes sense. Okay, so that's monthly finds. It's totally free, and you do not have to pay for that type of promotion. So your item might end up in an email, and it's definitely on this page, monthly finds, that buyers tend to browse through. Okay, let's talk about another one. We're going to talk about something that I am experimenting with at the moment, and that's the option to let buyers make offers to you. So if we look at my shop, this, like I said, it's something I'm experimenting with, and so I went ahead a while back and I put make an offer like on all my listings here. So as soon as I made any kind of change to a listing, my the people who have those items on like their wish list or they're like saved will get a notification that I changed something. So I did get 2 offers right away, not long after I made these changes. And it's still kind of a mixed, I don't have oh yeah, it's the greatest thing ever. I don't have complete results yet. I'm still testing it. One person made the offer and then didn't pay, and then the other person made the offer and paid. Okay. But I've also had, even though I have offer, I have people who have paid full price. And I'm experimenting with, like, when I first list an item, maybe not putting the offer button on it or that option maybe until later. So I'm still playing around with that. I might just go ahead and do it on everything just because it's easier for me to keep track of. Or I may decide to not use it at all. I just want to kind of get a feel for how many people end up using that make an offer option. Now I'll show you how you can do it. You can do it right on the listing page. And what's kind of interesting is that I still had someone message me an offer through messaging. So even though the offer thing was there, they didn't end up using it. And so actually, you know what? I might be wrong. I think that was a newly listed item and I didn't put the offer button on there. So they went ahead and messaged me. So I've had that happen too, where people just message you the offer they're interested in. And so I think when she did that, I went ahead and added the offer button to it. And then she was able to just do it easily, send me the offer, and I accepted it. But let me show you. If we go to my shop, add items. So this is the listing page. And if we go down, after the price, we have this little checkbox, make offer. Check to show make an offer on these items. And then you can set it up to automatically deal with the situation. Now this kind of confused me at first, but I think I have it figured out the way I want it. So I have it set that any offers that are 10% or less get accepted automatically. And once it's accepted, it makes a purchase order and it's basically an order that the person made. Now, I don't want to accept any offers that are 25% or more. Okay, that's too high of an offer for me. So I just automatically decline. Those get automatically declined. Now it says if the first offer that they send, say it's higher than 25%, then it'll get declined, but the system, the software, will go ahead and counter offer for you to fit within the your accepted range. Okay, so now you may be wondering what goes on between 11% and 24%. Well, those get an email to you, and you get to make the decision on those, what you want to do. So the two offers that I got ended up being emails, and they were, I don't know, they were like 20%, I think the people were kind of asking for. And the two items were older items, and I said, yeah, I'm fine with that. So I accepted the offers, and it went to a purchase order, and then we went from there. Now, you can definitely do it so that, see, here's your list. You could do it so that you're like at 10% or less, I'm accepting everything, and 11% and higher, I'm declining everything, right? Or you could set it at like 20%, accept everything within 20%, decline everything 21% and higher. So that's just an option. Like I said, I am just experimenting with it at the moment, but sometimes, you know, especially I think as the word about Ruby Lane spreads and hopefully we get more and more buyers, they're used to sometimes wanting to be able to negotiate a little bit. And this is just one way to let them do that. Now, another thing, so like I said, you can add that make an offer to your listing as you're listing it. And there is a way to also add it to all your listings at once. But we'll talk about that when we talk about the next feature. Now, the next feature is to just run a sale. Okay, and so what we're going to do is let's go to Shop Owner's Home again. And if we go down, we've got tutorials for shop owners. Okay, and this says show how to use Power Update. So Power Update is our bulk editing tool. And the Power Update lets us put items on sale. It lets us make lots of changes to our item, like to all our items at once. And it's what I use to add the make an offer option to all my listings. So what I would do is I would do this. Okay, how do I use Power Update? Okay, and so this is showing how to use it. But what I would do to get there is, let's go here. We're going to go back to Shop Owner's Home, where everything happens. And if you look down here under Manage Items, we've got Power Update. Okay, so now you've got choices on the things you can do to this, right? So this might be things that come in handy for any other changes that you need to make. So you can choose just your regular priced items. You can choose the ones that are in your shop, or go ahead and change the ones that are in your drafts or your back room. You can add different qualifications to it. So you can set like a minimum price that you're not going to make these changes to anything priced lower than this. You can do it based on views, based on category, based on lane, which is kind of like category, with certain keywords, or items that are on people's wish lists. So basically just the items that people are watching, and so they'll get updated, they'll get notified about it, and those changes will happen. Okay, and then you pick what you want done. You can change item condition on everything. You can reduce current item prices by. Okay, so you can kind of run a sale. So then you can go back and raise your prices again. You can set item prices to original item prices. So I think that goes back to, in your listing, I think it has to do with, you can put what your original item price was. You can change to show price as regular priced, or you can go ahead and make it say sale. You can make it say sale with the original price crossed out, reduced, that kind of thing, okay? So you can change how it looks in your shop. You can move items around, change categories. Here's where you can add text. Maybe you have something you wanted to add into the item description of all of your listings. And here you can do the make an offer or remove that feature from all your items. Okay? So just different options that you can bulk update. Now, if we go ahead and go back to, I just want to show you this real quick. Again, if we're going to add an item, you may have seen this as you're making listings. But as you're listing, you do your price. You can put an original price, like say you're putting a sale price here, and you put the original price of what you would really want from it. Because your options are, nope, it's just wanting you to put in a price. So then further down, where was it? Okay, put this item in your shop, show the price as regular priced, or on sale with original price crossed out, reduced, or whatever. So it seems kind of interesting that you don't, you're like, well, why would I, put it on sale as I'm listing it? There's actually a couple shops I've noticed that are pretty big shops, and they begin their listing with a sale price. So they list an item at a sale price, and they kind of create a sense of urgency by putting it as a sale price, and they say this price is only good for like 48 hours or 3 days or whatever, and then the price is going to go up. So they're like, go ahead and snag it before the price goes up. So that's an option. I have never experimented with that, but that's something that they do on pretty much all of their listings. So that's kind of interesting. Okay, let's look at something else you can do. So we've talked about listing more so that we show up on the today's arrivals. We've talked about adding make an offer, letting the buyer negotiate with you a little bit. We talked about running a sale. Now, something that they are kind of promoting, or that they've actually recently done some updates to, is the special buyer to buyer discounts. So we want to go to shop owner's home again. If you go there, you see it's right here at the top. This is, we've improved these, and why not make the most of them? So you could just click right here, but in case that goes away someday, you go under promotions and events, and we've got special buyer discounts right there. So here we go. You can set up a discount at whatever percentage you want. You can do a dealer to dealer discount. So you can make a discount for people who are other Ruby Lane shop owners. It's kind of a thing, dealer to dealer. I think it kind of goes back to different vintage shows and things like that, where people would kind of give each other deals on things. Top buyers, people who spend a lot of money on Ruby Lane as a site, you can kind of reward them a little bit by giving them a discount in your shop, or you could just focus on your repeat buyers. So you can choose, like if you choose that, you can say, all right, after you've bought 3 items from me, then I will give you this discount. Okay, and then you can do just your regular priced items. You could add your sale items, your reduced items, and the discount could start like at $10. Like say your list, you don't want to discount anything that costs less than $10. Then you can also exclude today's arrivals, this week's arrivals, this month's arrivals, this year's arrivals, right? So say you want to give an item a chance to sell at full price. you can just go ahead and say, you know what, you don't get a discount the first month or the first week, but after that, you know, you can have a discount on any of the older items in my shop. So that's something I have not decided on doing yet. I've had repeat buyers, and I think that's where I'd be inclined to go for it. But, you know, I think as I grow and I get more repeat buyers, then maybe I'd be more interested in setting that up and just kind of rewarding the people who come back often, you know, to shop in my store, and maybe give them a little incentive to buy something new. Okay, so we talked about running a sale just in our own shop. You know, you can kind of run a sale on a category for a little while and then end it and do different things like that. Let's look at today's arrivals again. And I just wanted to show you, okay, so here's an example. Someone listed this. It's a new listing, right? It's a painting. They have a sale price listed on it, okay? This person has a make offer. So this just lets you know what that looks like when people see it as customers. Okay, here's another one, 15% off. Okay, so a lot of people seem to do that pretty quickly at the beginning of listing, you know, a newer item. They'll go ahead and put it on sale. Okay, now another thing that shop owner's home, our little favorite spot. If we go down to promotions and events, we have add items to the Ruby Red Tag Sale. Okay, I can't really show you this because there are no upcoming Ruby Red Tag Sale events. But basically what these are they are site-wide sales events that are run by Ruby Lane itself. So they're totally optional. You do not have to participate in them. And they have gone through a lot of changes over the years, and even over just the couple years since I have joined Ruby Lane again. So let me show you the latest. You know, we could talk a little bit about what they used to be like. The only thing I'm going to mention is that they used to be a lot less often, and they were a little bit more hyped because they were run so rarely that people got super excited to shop them when they did happen. And back in the day, I think they were mostly like a 20% off sale. Since I've been there, they've jumped it like to a 50% off sale. You know, there's different opinions, there's mixed feelings. I'm not a complete fan of how they are now. The last one I actually did not participate in. I'll think about it again in the future, but the sales have gotten a little bit more often. And so here's what they're doing right now. So here's an email. Hopefully my picture won't block too much of it. But this was the last one that they ran. It was February. It was a Valentine's Day sale. Okay, they're called red tag sales. And so it's just saying 2023 means they've been in business for 25 years. And they've said that they've got a feature that's been requested that discounts are lower than 50%. Well, that's kind of true. You have some degrees of discount that you can do, right? And before they had it that you could only participate with about half of your inventory. Only half of your inventory could be put into the sale. So this is what we have. What we had, it's an up to 50% off sale. So at least half of the items that you're picking for the sale have to be 50% off. The rest of the items could be 20, 30, or 40. Okay, so if you had 10 items that you were putting in the sale, 5 of the items must be 50% off. The other 5 items can be lower than that. If your shop has less than 1,500 items, you could put your whole shop on sale. Between 1,500 and 2,000, you can pick 1,500. And then if you had over 2,000 items in your shop, then you can include 3/4 of your items in the sale. So this is the part I'm not a big fan of, is that the sale itself lasts 12 days from, it was the end of January to beginning of February. It just seems too long. I don't know. The Ruby Red Tag sales used to be like Friday to Monday, and there was so much urgency with it. Friday mornings were so super excited because as soon as the sale opened, people were just frantically buying, and you would just get this big like rash of like sales. It's just kind of fun to see all those sales come in, one after the other. Now there's a little less urgency. I think there's still a big surge on those first few days because if you don't buy it, someone else might buy it. And so I just think there's not as much happening the rest of those 12 days. So what's the point of that? They've made it so that before you had to make sure all the items you picked for the sale were picked before the sale started, and it would show in your shop the items that were on sale so people could plan and they would know which ones they wanted to get as soon as the sale opened. Like it says, the participation in the sale, it's voluntary, it's free, you don't have to do it. Anyway, so that's what a site-wide Ruby Red Tag sale is. It is a way to get maybe a bunch of extra sales, maybe a way to clear out some stale inventory. And so definitely something to keep in mind. There are some buyers that now that these events are so much more frequent, there's no schedule of them posted anywhere. They just they get announced. You get some warning about it. They do encourage you that if during that week of that sale to go ahead and keep listing fresh items because there's more traffic to the shop during that time because they do promote the sale on other venues as well. So anyway, that's one option. Then something they also added, where do I want to go? Here. Okay, so there's nothing scheduled right now. There's also one called, they've added these spotlight sales, and these are not site-wide. They're basically, they're site-wide, but they're, like it says, spotlight. They're maybe just one category. So they might have a week-long doll sale or a week-long jewelry sale or things like that. A week-long fashion sale. So your items have to fit into those categories to be included in those spotlight sales events. Okay, so that is another option. Now, one more thing. Well, not one more thing. I've got two more things to talk about. Social media. So this is totally up to you. You've probably seen on listing pages. Okay, so say I pick this crazy thing. Okay, you've probably seen on listing pages that there are social media share buttons. So it's definitely something, especially if you kind of have a niche or a theme to your listings, to your shop or whatever, consider building up a following on Instagram or Pinterest or something like that, where you can just kind of curate all the things you're adding to the shop, and you never know how doing that promotion will drive new buyers maybe to your items. So instead of leaving everything up to the things that, to Google searches or things like that, or just the existing customer base, go ahead and try to get your items in the view of other people outside of Ruby Lane. So yeah, you can set up Pinterest boards that are like your newly listed items, or you can do it by theme. If you're into Twitter, you could tweet them out, put them on a Facebook business page, all these different things. Now, one thing I did see that was interesting that we're going to talk about for a minute is we're going back to Shop Owner's Home. Okay, so we want to go down and we're talking about, let's see, where did I see this? I think it was in here. Okay, so this is the FAQ knowledge base The first subcategory is advertising, shop promotion, blah, blah, blah. So it says, do you have programs to promote my shop? So I just wanted to say this real quick. There's information in there about some of the things I've already talked about if you need to go back and refer to that. But the second one says, how do I use social media to promote my shop? So there's Facebook. You can read about that. Twitter. Now Pinterest. Okay, it says, Ruby Lane works our Pinterest account daily, adding items from all shops to hundreds of different boards. We currently have about 158,000 followers. I don't know when they wrote that. They increase that number every day. Okay, so they have some shop owner boards called the Picks and Pins boards. So this is what's interesting. Shop owners who have a Pinterest account and have contacted us are added to the board as collaborators. Then you can then save 12 items per week on those boards. Those items are shown to many of our followers and found for others who are just on Pinterest, like a search engine kind of thing. So they just kind of gives things there. How to send an email, how to get onto those boards. Okay, and then some little tips on that. So that's probably something I'm going to explore. I used to do a lot more with Pinterest, but now I just try to remember, I do a new listing and I try to remember to pin it to Pinterest as soon as I do the listing. And there is some options on here. Let's see. If you go down here, there's Google Analytics. Now, if you're not a slacker like me that hasn't set up my Google Analytics, you can go ahead and, if you have an account, go ahead and get, anyway, you can get your Google Analytics thing set up, and then from there you'd be able to see how much of your traffic is coming from social media or where your traffic is coming from, which I think is always interesting. Okay, so then the last thing we're going to talk about, everything we've talked about so far was free, and the last things we're going to talk about are, okay, nope, I don't have anything saved for that. Let's go down to what I was talking about, the FAQ, advertising. Do you have programs to promote my shop? Okay. So now there are some promotion available on Ruby Lane that require that you pay for it. So they have Ruby Lane paid search clicks. So it will rank your items higher in search results. It's just optional. You can choose to pay for search clicks. You can track if it's helping or not, and you can set like a budget for how much you're going to pay each day. And then the next one is paid featuring and premium featuring. You may, if you've signed up for Ruby Lane, you may be getting these emails. They say extra, extra, and they talk about different ways that you can promote and pay to promote your items. So paid featuring will showcase your items on the home page and on the main category pages. Your shop will be in the featured shops page. And then there's premium featuring. If you pay even more, you can get your items up in the banners, the feature banners at the top of all the pages. Anyway, so there's more information there. I have not paid for anything. I might, at some point play around with the paid search clicks. Advertising is advertising. It's definitely something that some sellers do in order to try to be competitive, but definitely not required, but something you could experiment with and then see if it helps your shop at all. Okay, so what do you think? Those are 8 different ways on Ruby Lane, different features, different ideas for helping to increase our sales. Let me know what you think of those options. Have you tried any of them yet? Do any of them work really, really well for you? Go ahead and leave me a comment down below if there's one that you're interested in trying. or if you just have any more questions about these features. I tried to just kind of cover it without making the video completely long, but hopefully that was helpful and that there's something that you can implement. Like I said, there's a few that I'm going to play around with more in the future, and we'll see how we do with making sales on Ruby Lane. So thank you again, everybody, for watching. Please leave a thumbs up, leave a comment. All those little things do help my channel, and they help me to grow and hopefully be able to help more people with their reselling businesses. And anyway, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end, and we will talk to you soon.